Alright, hey you guys. So my name is Daniel Montenegro and I'm a project engineer for a structural company based out of Atlanta, Georgia. This video is going to be about a project I'm working on. It's a senior living center that's 4 stories tall. So this is going to go over the process in which we designed this building from the beginning to the end stage. I wanted to share this because I feel like a younger version of me could have benefited from seeing the process of a building being built. So let's start with the first couple of days. To be honest, they're kind of boring. A lot of meetings, a lot of just coordinating with the architect, figuring out what we're gonna do. But there's gonna be exciting parts where we do more modeling, where we start doing more calculations for gravity and lateral. So stay tuned for that. Day 1, we're meeting with the architect, mechanical, civil, interior designers, just going over the scope of the project. Some important notes that we got from that meeting: that the building's primarily going to be made out of wood, except for the entry, which is going to be steel framed. The units are going to stack, which is really important when it comes to lateral design. And lastly, just deadlines, schedules, that sort of stuff. Day 2, I'm talking to my boss. We're going over some calculations for stud wall capacities because we want to go to the architect with options for our next meeting, which is going to be day 3, surprise. So we have 2 options. One is going to be that we frame from interior to interior wall. Option 2, we're doing exterior to corridor. So yeah, we just come up with those 2 options. Day 3 comes along and we're actually having that meeting with the architect, and obviously they want 2x4s everywhere. I mean, that's awesome, right? You're saving more money. You're not actually saving more money. So regardless of which direction we wanted to frame the unit, it really came down to having to thicken up the walls or to add more 2x4s to get the first level to work with the loads. So they were looking at a wall of solid 2x4s. We were able to talk them down to just using 2x6s every 12 inches. So that's what we're going to be doing for the exterior and corridor walls. Day 4 comes around, we start sketching things out on Bluebeam over their architectural plans. So we're trying to lock down steel column locations as well as just beams, steel beams having to catch units above. Like I said, this is going to be more focused on the entrance. Everywhere else it should stack. I guess we'll see in their model if that actually is true. So day 5 comes along. Day 5, we're supposed to be starting the structural model, since the next day we're going to be sending out a progress set. Turns out we don't actually start on day 5. There was a miscommunication on Revit versions, and nothing really happened that day. Day 6. So day 6 we're actually starting, and since we have to send out a progress set that exact same day, I have my coworker / friend help me out. Victor's a champ. Definitely stayed really late to help me out. Huge favor, I really appreciate it. And since this is my first big project with them, I'm just trying to learn how they set up their files. The way they like to set them up is not how I'm used to setting them up. The way they like to do it is do unit framing. Basically, the architect sends us each unit and we have to frame out that unit. And then we link that Revit file into a central file that will ultimately make up the building. Turns out that doesn't really matter in this case. We're framing from exterior to the corridor, so no matter if the architect changes the layout of the unit in any way, we're not using any of those walls. So in part 2, you'll learn we don't actually do it this way. It was a crazy hectic day. Needless to say, we sent it out. So yay. Part 1 of this video has ended. Some things I did learn was that architects sometimes like to import CAD drawings instead of linking them. I started Googling, why is my Revit model taking 5 minutes to load every time I make a slight change? Turns out having like 100+ drawings in a Revit file imported will boggle down the file. So definitely purge CAD files. That's what I ended up doing. I did a Revit add-on to purge every CAD related thing, imported, linked, so it's become part of my workflow now. So that pretty much wraps up everything for part 1. Part 2 should hopefully be more exciting. I'm doing a lot more modeling, and here's a glimpse as to what to expect in part 2. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. I appreciate it, and yeah, can't wait to see you on the next video.